Hello everyone. I've been driving a Chevy Volt for about 6 months now, and one question I very often get asked about is battery charging. People seem to be very interested in knowing how do we do that, how long does it take, how often do we have to do it, and so on. So I'd like to spend a couple of minutes talking about the different kinds of chargers and where and how they might be available to all of us who drive electric vehicles. The first type of charger I'd like to talk about is the level 1 charger. This type of charger comes with the electric vehicle standard and basically plugs into a 110 outlet, and then you plug it into your car and it takes hours, but it does get the job done. Typically, you end up gaining about 3 to 4 miles of range for every hour that the battery is plugged into one of these chargers. So as you can imagine, in my case with the Chevy Volt, which has a 53-mile range, it can take 12 to 13 hours for me to recharge that battery when it's totally depleted. You get something like a Chevy Bolt, which has a 230 some odd mile range, and one of these chargers will take better than 24 hours to get the job done. It's not bad if you have a small amount of range that you need to put back into the battery, because you can plug it in and let it run all night long. But when you start needing to plug it in for more than 10 or 12 hours, it gets to be a problem. The second type of charger I'd like to talk about is the level 2 charger. These are all 220 volt and have amperages that range anywhere from 30 to 60 amp. They're quite capable of being installed in a home, and many people that drive electric vehicles do exactly that. They're also very common when we're out and about and we stop and look at charging stations in malls and theaters and highway rest areas and so on. The one thing to keep in mind with all of these is that when you plug into one of them, you're going to gain about 24, 25 miles of range for every hour that the car is plugged into this. So it's going to take some time. In the case of the Chevy Volt, it might take 2-3 hours. In the case of a Chevy Bolt, which has a 200 and some odd mile range, it can take 8 or 10 hours to get done. So, but they're quite within the capability of being installed in a home, and as I say, they're very common. The third type of charger I'd like to talk about is the level 3 charger, also referred to as DC fast chargers. These are not within the capability of being installed in a home, totally impractical for that type of application. They will be found, however, in places that people who are traveling with electric vehicles are likely to stop. Highway rest areas, places like that. The advantage to one of these is if you have a car that's capable of being plugged into one of these, is you gain about 100 miles of range for every hour that you're plugged in. So in other words, if you're driving a Chevy Bolt and you have this capability and you come up to one of these, in an hour's time you can gain about 100 miles of range, which is well within the time you might spend to grab a cup of coffee or have a lunch someplace. Part of this group also are the Tesla superchargers. Now the Tesla superchargers are only set up for use with the Tesla, but they are DC fast chargers and are really intended to give you lots of miles in a very short period of time. So that's about all I have. Thanks again. If you get a chance, subscribe. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one.